Hello, everyone, and thank you for being here at the end of the last session. As we've seen for the last few hours, global tension, conflicts, shifting alliance are reshaping our world and the global order. Our next session, and I think it's written here, is Chinese creativity at home and abroad. It might seem counterintuitive to focus our next session on creativity and culture. But in the context of China and Europe, it's not only relevant, it's essential. Sorry, that better. Okay. And of course, it's essential. I would have to say that being the person in charge of culture and art and with partners in crime here to do the programming on arts and culture, you would not expect me to say it's not important. But as geopolitics harden, culture remains one of the last frontier for genuine dialogue. Many of you in this room know that beyond politics and trade, it's often through art, design, film, food, as Joyce said very earlier, food is important, and language that real connections happen. Where diplomacy may falter, art, literature, and shared story continue to build bridges. Creativity is a form of soft power, a way to foster understanding and connection. Europe and China are both cultural giants, with rich history and dynamic creative sectors. But how they express and export culture differs, and often reflecting deeper values. And I want to emphasize on value, because this is what it's all about. Europe champions openness, diversity, and rights. China balances heritage with state-guided modernity. This difference makes dialogue challenging, but also more important and urgent. Beyond identity, let's remember one thing. Creative industries are economic powerhouses. In both regions, they generate millions of jobs and billions in value. From fashion to film to gaming to architecture, creativity is not an expression, it's a strategy. And in today's digital world, where content is shaped with algorithm and controlled by a few platforms, cultural autonomy matters. How we tell story, who gets heard, what values are embedded in our digital space are now geopolitical questions. Lastly, creativity has a role in shaping our shared future. Shared future, which is at the core of Asia society mission and values. From climate change to social cohesion, we need imaginative thinking, narrative that moves people, not policies that just move paper. So why talk about creativity and culture now between China and Europe? Because they help us see one another more clearly, work together more effectively, and imagine futures that we might actually want to share. To run this next session, I will let the floor to two much more dynamic and young and energetic people that will run a very engaging session that will involve all of you. But before I do that, I want to apologize on one of our panelists who is gone. Qingqing, but it was on the original program. Qingqing, as many good dancers, have a back problem. And he is, as we say in French, cloué au lit, nailed in bed, and cannot, at the last moment, could not come. So she apologizes to all of you. She would have loved to be here. But there is a wonderful replacement, and I will let the two, Rohan, and my good friend here that I just blanked on the name, Capucine. How can I do that, Capucine, to you? To come and introduce the next panelist. Thank you.
Hi, everyone.
We're really far from each other.
Yeah, we're far from each other now, but it will fill up.
Our heart is close.
Yes. We are at the China Summit And so this session will be slightly different with both English and Mandarin. So get ready for that. I will start by introducing Jiang Chong'er, who is a designer and artist. She co-founded Shangxia with Hermès, which is some of the most beautiful furniture I've ever seen in my life that's inspired by Chinese craftsmanship and tradition. She's also an artist who recently, well, last year, exposed at the Musée Guimet here in Paris, and her exhibition was not only inside, but also outside on the facade with all of her sculptures. So Jiang Chong'er, please come up. Our second speaker, Jia Jiawei, is an award-winning screenwriter. She is the screenwriter of a film that you may have heard of, A Little Red Flower, which was one of the highest-grossing films in 2020 worldwide and has been nominated for 4 major awards. She's also written for other film and TV, and I'm sure we'll hear about it more. Please come up. And finally, I will introduce my brilliant co-moderator before Rohan introduces our final speaker. Rohan is the co-host and co-founder of the Weirdo podcast.
Yes.
I forgot the Chinese name. Can you help me
It's
out?
fine. I forgive you. 不合时宜.
不合时宜, which has no less than 1 million listeners and talks about a variety of topics from climate, art, culture, to journalism and geopolitics. So over to you.
Yes, thank you for Kapu's kind words. Now, welcome everyone joining me to welcome our final panelist, Huang Rui. Huang Rui was very important in art history of China. He was a founding member of Chinese avant-garde art group, the Starred Arts Group, 新兴画会. Which included lots of famous artists you might have heard of before, like Ai Weiwei or Huang Ke. So Centre Pompidou actually recently just organized a 30 years retrospective of their works. Welcome. Yes, actually, when we are speaking about the power of the culture, I want to mention a thing when I arrived Paris yesterday. So I live in Amsterdam, and yesterday when I arrived Paris, somehow my mind was just cannot stop playing the music and scene of the movie Amélie. So I feel like that's the power of culture. Because when the culture is spreading to the world, I watched this movie when I was 10, and it's like super influencer among Chinese audience and younger generations. So I think it's just like such a fitting session to talk about culture and creativity in Paris, and also how Chinese culture were affected by the global and how it's affecting the global perspective as well. So my first question would be, since like all of our speakers actually had like cross-culture living experience, all of you actually are living in Western and Eastern before. So my first question would be, how did you perceive yourself and your living experience in Western and Eastern to influence your artworks? So maybe we, starting from the Chong'er.
Okay. 大家下午好 Bonjour, good evening, good afternoon. I'm very happy to be here today. And I'm born in Shanghai, in China, and then I came to France, study in Art Deco in Paris. So France and China are both like 2 parts very important cultural roots in my life when I create. And so I want to make it short because otherwise I can talk 1 hour about this question. So I think today, 21st century, 2025, July, I think an artist, when you have multi-cultural background, I think today our mission is no more representing our individual expression, artistic expression. I think today's world, we need some artists to try to create at the place of humanity, which I mean, when you create, normally you say what I want to say as an artist. But I think today we have the mission, and it's the time, very important time, that artists, you ask what this world needs and what humanity needs to be awakened, which message we need to pass. And so, like you said, my project at the Musée Guimet, it's about origin, to call that all life stems from same root, that we are not looking for what we are different from our culture. We are looking for through art what we are in common. And maybe with this common power and common points that make people be together and take care of each other, and maybe we can go together to the future. So I think that's how I identify, myself as an artist. Whatever you do as monumental installation, a design, or a painting, it's more for this. It's keep the soul awakened. And I think today, with the technology, with all of this very speedy developed, AI, all of this, it's even more important art. And maybe it's too serious what I say, but I truly believe art is the arc de Noé, how you say English, the Noah's Ark of human being civilizations. And I think art should be beyond language, beyond words. It's how to say, it's a emotion, it's a message, it's a feeling for all of us being together. Thank you.
Yes, actually this question I also want to ask Kapsing, because I didn't mention your background, but actually you are having very rich background living in different places. You are in China for 5 years and you are choosing like very specific location in China like Chengdu or Hong Kong and like Shanghai, so you're being everywhere like in China, and also you are working in Paris now, so like Kapsing also co-founded like a very good platform to promote the women mental health. So I would like to know your opinion about this question a little bit as well when we move forward to other panelists.
Absolutely. Can you hear me? Yeah. How did China shape me, or my experience, my cross-cultural experience? I grew up between Morocco and London, even though I'm French, and then I spent 5 years in China. So I don't think I would be who I am today without the cross-cultural experience. I'm not an artist, unfortunately. I'm a creator in some way. But I think everything we do is informed by our past. And for me, the cross-cultural past informs what I do today as well.
Fantastic. So let's also go to Huang Rui, because I know you live in Paris for 30 years, and Pompidou just had your exhibition. I'm just trying to speak the question again. And for 黄瑞老师，我想问您，就是您觉得您在巴黎的生活经历，或者是您之前在中国，然后现在在西方生活的经历，如何影响了你的艺术创作？
English very far. Actually, I'm not living in France. My friend living here, so same group, stars group, another member, name is Wang Keping, Ma Desheng. They live in France, and Li Shuang live in France more than 40 years. But for me, I'm just moving Paris start to living last month. Start really. But my partner is French. I have a lot of friends living, even Chinese French living in Paris. So I love Paris. One thing. That's it. But another one, I'm not going to here to participate talk. Really, so someone...
To explain, Huang Laoshi found out 2 hours ago that he was participating in this talk because of what Jean-Michel mentioned, Xinxing est clouée au lit, so she's got her back problem and in bed. But we're so lucky to have you. We really are, I'm not joking. And just to give context, it's so great to have different generations of Chinese artists with us. And you were one of the first contemporary artists that led a movement in China that still inspires the generation today. And so thank you for being here.
Thank you. You gave me brave. So I could say I'm outsider. I'm outside, always standing outside mainstream, or the outside of government policy. I'm not thinking about some idea or some route, some way to build up political way. Standing in political position. I'm just learning Taoism more than 40 years, That Taoism always push you thinking obsession. So always push you thinking about changing, differencing. So I do that. I'm also participate the first generation after the Cultural Revolution. We decided making avant-garde. Even that time, we don't know that the words of avant-garde. But with some poet and artist, some writer, we have underground group moving Beijing, starting beginning of 70s. And then after the Cultural Revolution, we make very important movement. The name is the Stars. Another name is Today. Today, just last night, I met my really old friend. We had relationship from 1969. Bei Dao, a very famous poet. Bei Dao and me and Monker create underground magazine Today. But Bei Dao is one of really hard decision to keep Today's magazine keep going, upholding more than from 1978 until to right now. Even right now, in China mainland, censored Today's magazine. That is the situation. So, okay.
Yeah, I think definitely in China, the censorship affecting the art and culture a lot, because just looking back my journalism experience, that's the same as well, because I was working for institutional media, and then one of the media was banned by the government. So that's actually basically the story why I started my own podcast. So definitely, if we are talking about culture in China, the censorship and topics, because Jia Wei is a very famous screenwriter, and your works cross the film and TV. So how you are also living in Paris now? You didn't move yesterday, right? Moved to here yesterday. So I wonder, like, how did you perceive your working and living experience, and how it reflects your
really very short and brief. The moment I feel the most creative, the moment don't often happen when I feel comfort or I feel settled. It's always like when I feel nervous or I feel the obvious existence anxiety. It's like something happened. I feel creative. I moved to London in 2019 from Beijing. Before that, I worked in Beijing as a screenwriter for years. That year, I moved to London for another master degree in the time of Brexit. And immediately after that, it's a pandemic hit. So honestly, I feel the most valuable part of my overpriced British education is learn how to living through math. I once asked Duncan, it's like, because Duncan travels everywhere and Duncan is slightly older than me, sorry, more experienced than me. Yeah. So I asked Duncan, was the world always like this? It's like, it's always changing so fast, or I moved to London, then it began to change. So I asked stupid questions like that. But at that time, the life paused. So I started to question like what was normal and what was the new normal. So, and China and UK, they were coping the situation totally different. So it made me reflect a lot. So after 2 years, I moved to Paris. At that time, it was still difficult to travel back here. I couldn't speak French. It's very difficult, so I couldn't understand, I couldn't speak. So I felt like I live in a vacuum, like physically in France, but not actually in it. So I feel at that time, it's like I push myself to ask a lot of questions I never asked before. So for me, the cultural identity is not like about geography or language or other elements. It made me rethink. So for me, the cultural identity is constantly reforming and it's evolving, it's shifting, it's always changing. But right now, since I live in Paris right now, I find myself have more interest in writing Chinese stories because I come from the Chinese culture, but I'm not defined by thinker of that anymore. So I feel I now have the freedom to carry what I want to carry and keep on reshaping my ways to see the world. Yeah.
It's so interesting. Often you find out more about yourself in a foreign country than in your own country. Our second question for you, China, is how do you view China's cultural presence on the international stage today, its strengths and its constraints? 然后我也会讲中文。你会如何看待中国艺术和文？ Since your artwork has recently from you first.
This is a very large question, and but the root, the foundation, there's always something same. We are looking for beauty, aesthetic beauty. We are looking for love, but the expression could be different. And so, what I think, from China, as I said, I have double culture, Chinese and French, and so when I try to create. I think last 5 years, I feel particularly strong that a Chinese ink and brush